Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you once again. This time, we're going to go over to Insider, and I will list the article writer and all of the details in the description as I always do. This is in retail, and it says there was a gonorrhea outbreak at a McDonald's branch among staff who were having intimate relations with each other, a report says. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. There was an outbreak of gonorrhea among staff at a McDonald's branch in the UK, a report says. Intimate relations between staff members were commonplace at the Northern Ireland branch. The find was part of a BBC investigation into claims of a toxic work culture at UK McDonald's. There was an outbreak of a sexually transmitted disease at a McDonald's branch in the UK where intimate relations between staff members were commonplace, a BBC investigation found. The investigation, based on accounts from more than 100 current and former employees, revealed a series of allegations of SA, racism, and homophobia across different branches of the fast food chain. The BBC reported that there had been an outbreak of gonorrhea among the staff at a branch in Northern Ireland, but did not provide any further details. If you are not familiar with what gonorrhea is a STD that can cause infection in the genitals, rectum, and throat. In rare cases, it can lead to infertility in men, and untreated gonorrhea can also spread to blood and joints. The 5-month-long BBC investigation painted a picture of a toxic work culture at the company. The BBC reported that workers, of some of them teenagers in their first jobs, said they were being groped and harassed regularly. One allegation involved a manager in the Hillshire suggesting a 16-year-old male worker perform sexual acts in exchange for vapes. The report alleged that another manager in Cheshire branch tried to pressure a 16-year-old female worker into having intercourse. According to the report, another former worker said she was 17 when a senior manager at a Paramount location choked her and grabbed her butt. Other allegations involve racism and homophobia. Workers told the broadcast that often managers were responsible for the assaults and harassment, and senior managers often failed to act on complaints. In a statement previously shared with Insider, the CEO of McDonald's UK and Ireland, Ashtar McCrow, I hope I pronounced that right, said that the company has a zero-tolerance approach to any kind of harassment and that each employee deserves to work in a safe, respectable, and inclusive workplace. There are clearly instances where we have fallen short, and for that we deeply apologize, he says. He added that McDonald's UK would investigate all of the allegations. Would you now? Okay. The U.S.-owned hamburger chain has 1,450 outlets in the UK and employs about 170,000 workers, the BBC reported. And that is the end of the article right there. Am I not? I mean, I'm not surprised about it, to be honest with you. But for real, they should do that over here. They should open up their investigation over here. This is when you really gonna find some stuff, okay? Just like any other job, fast food chains, restaurant chains are no different from any other job. They face some of the same or similar things that happen in the workplace: harassment, gang stalking mentality, bullying, homophobia, sexism. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that goes on, and this article is just the tip of the iceberg. Over here in the U.S., I can definitely say that I have seen a little bit of it all: harassment, bullying, homophobia, gang stalking mentality. Managers, senior managers, they don't really want to really take the initiative or the stance to do anything unless you either go over top of their head in some form or fashion. It's always a thing, oh, it could be worked out, or what the common practice is that I know of is that they'll just fire you, they'll just get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of fast food chains and restaurants have a high turnover rate, because rather than actually, hands-on deal with the issue or the problem, they just rather get rid of you and fire you. I have been in situations where I've worked for companies and stood up and talked about some of the things that were going on. That kind of made me public enemy number one, but I really didn't care about it. And a couple of places I did get fired from because I spoke my mind. One instance, I've spoke about this several times. There was a lot of people at a place that I was working at, and some of them happened to be of Mexican origin. Okay. And, some of them, they were, coming in and, they were trying to learn the ropes, and some of their English wasn't very good. So, we had different posts that we would, work at and things like that, and serve a customer. Well, one day they were serving a customer, and the customer was very belligerent, very ignorant, very rude, very entitled, very privileged. And, they basically told this person, if you can't speak properly English, why don't you go back to where you came from, go back to your country? Which kind of ticked a lot of people off, but for some reason I was the only one that said anything. So, they were told to come inside, and they came inside, and their abusive language and everything else, and their entitlement, it just kept going and stuff like that. And then I just said something. I said, you are ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to be honest with you, just to cut the cheese, I called the lady an ignorant white bitch. And I knew from the moment that I called her an ignorant white bitch, I knew I lost my job. So at that point, I really didn't care. It was just disgusting how her and her African American husband came in there, verbally abusing this person because it was a failure of communication, rather than saying, oh, okay, well, let me speak to someone that, may understand me better, or, being calm about the situation and not being ignorant, privileged, and belligerent. They just went on this tirade, and the GM was there that day, and she happens to be white as well. So I just went off. I went off on her. I went off on the lady. I went off on her husband. And I said, you serve all people. You should know better. Okay? But yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I said verbatim. But yeah, I really dug into them. And as a result of that, I lost my job. And do I feel bad about that? No, I don't. Because, you treat people with the same respect that you want to be treated with. If there's a barrier in communication, then just simply ask to speak to someone that you feel that may better understand you. Not saying that the person is not adequate at their job. They still have a lot to learn, as my coworker did have a lot to learn, and she eventually got better from what I was told, as far as her, communicating English and understanding English, So, yeah, that's just one example of what actually goes on in, the workplace. It's very sad. People always say, excuse me, people always say, you got to put up with something, a couple of things to, keep your job. But at what point are you going to stand up when you see something wrong? It was no better when people were going through high school and college and stuff like that, and they were bullied and stuff like that. But then everybody's in shock when you have all of these acts of violence that occur, um, you know, and then you're sitting back and everybody's asking, well, why did these acts of violence occur? Usually because somebody was probably being bullied or ignored or neglected. And, instead of, helping a person out, everybody just turned a blind eye. I noticed a lot of times people would not say anything and turn a blind eye and ignore the situation only because they didn't want to become the target of the attack. And that's never a good thing, because just because you do that doesn't mean that you're not going to become the target of an attack, whether it be verbal, physical, whatever, So that's just my opinion on it, but I would definitely like to know how you guys feel. So please drop down in the comment section. It's absolutely absurd and disgusting of some of the things that happened over there in the UK McDonald's. But I'm pretty sure if they were to do the same thing and open an investigation into the United States branches and stuff like that, they would definitely find a lot more stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Stay home. Cook your food. Don't eat at these places, man. For real. With that, you guys, drop down in the comment section. Let's chop it up. I love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And with that, you guys, I will get with you in the next one.